Hello everybody, I am Dr. Sonali Pawar from Dada Patil Mahavidyalaya Karjat. This is my video lecture meant for B.3 Special English students for paper G3. The topic of my video lecture today is sentences. Now see the introduction first. The unit we are going to see here is syntax. Under this unit, this subtopic sentences we will see further. Syntax is the branch of linguistics that studies the structure of sentences. Sentences are formed of words, phrases, and clauses. Sometimes sentences need do support. There are different types of sentences. The first classification is based on structure. So the first point we are going to see here is structural classification. According to structure of the sentences, that is, the number of clauses they contain, sentences are divided into three types: simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex sentences. Simple sentence. Simple sentence consists of a single clause, that is, one noun phrase and one verb phrase having single clause, that is a simple sentence. For example, Prakash ran to call his father. In this sentence, Prakash, single NP, and ran to call his father is a only and one VP. She writes poetry. Here, she, NP, and writes poetry, VP. So these are the examples of simple sentence. Second type is compound sentence. Compound sentence contains two or more independent clauses. One more important feature of compound sentences is they are linked by coordinating conjunctions. The examples of coordinating conjunctions are or, but, and, yet, for, so, as well as either or, not only but also, neither nor, etc. The example of compound sentence is Jyoti went to Pune and worked as a librarian. Now see, Jyoti went to Pune, worked as a librarian. That means she worked as a librarian. These two are the independent clauses. They do not depend on each other. And these two clauses are linked by coordinating conjunction and. So this is an example of compound sentence. In the second example, he is a teacher but his wife is a doctor. See again here, he is a teacher, independent clause. His wife is a doctor, another independent clause. And these two independent clauses are linked by the coordinating conjunction but. So this is also a very good example of compound sentence. Third type of sentences is complex sentence. Complex sentence has one independent clause and one or more dependent clauses. They are denoted by S bar. Dependent clauses are introduced by complimentizers. Then complementizers, the examples of complementizers are who, where, etc. WH words. Because, since, so that, if, though, as soon as, till, before, after, etc. The example of complex sentence is Arun, who helped Sally, is my brother. Now see, Arun is my brother is the independent clause. Who helped Sally is the dependent clause which is dependent on the main or independent clause. Arun is my brother. So who helped Sally? It is dependent clause and it is introduced in the sentence by the complementizer WH word who. So this is an example of complex sentence. Now see, the second main type of classification of sentences is functional classification. Depending on the function, the sentences perform They are classified into again three groups. First is statements, second interrogative sentences, and third one is imperative sentences. Statements are also known as declarative sentences or assertive sentences. We will see it in somewhat detail. Declarative sentences. Declarative sentences make statements. They also give us information and they express the opinion of the speaker. There are two subtypes of declarative sentences: affirmative sentences and negative sentences. Declarative sentences that make positive statements are affirmative sentences. Declarative sentences that make positive statements are affirmative sentences. In Marathi, होकारार्थी वाक्ये. For example, Kunal was listening us. Maya went for a walk. These are the examples of affirmative sentences. Negative sentences make negative statements. Structure of negative sentences: auxiliary verb plus not plus main verb. See, for example, Kunal was not listening us, or do form plus not plus main verb in base form. The example of negative sentence is Maya did not go for a walk. Did is a do form, not and main verb that is go. Did not go. Was not listening, auxiliary verb, not main verb. So in this way, Kunal was not listening us and Maya did not go for a walk. These are the two examples of negative sentences. Then one more concept we have to see under this topic, that is sentences. It is do support. In English, some sentences do not have auxiliary verb. In such cases, auxiliary do is inserted in various forms, and this phenomenon is known as do support. See, for example, Maya goes for a walk. In tag question, as there is no any auxiliary verb, we have to use auxiliary do form. Doesn't she? Maya goes for a walk. Doesn't she? Question mark. Maya does not go for a walk. Does Maya go for a walk? Question mark. So these are the examples of do support. Interrogative sentences. Interrogative sentences ask questions or make inquiries. They end with question marks. Subtypes of interrogative sentences are yes-no type questions, WH questions, and one more type introduced here in our book is tag questions. Yes-no questions. Yes-no questions are called so because they are answered in either yes or no. They also end with question marks. They begin with auxiliary verbs like to be forms, have, may, do forms, etc. The examples of yes-no questions are: is Sarita getting ready? Does Maya exercise every day? Now see here, is an auxiliary verb. Does is a do form. So as these questions begin with the auxiliary verbs do or to be form and they end with the question mark, and they can be answered only as yes or no. These are the good examples of yes-no questions. Then WH questions. WH questions, as their name denotes us, begin with a WH word like why, who, what, how, etc. They also end with question mark, but WH questions seek specific information, means they does not answer only yes or no. They seek specific, more information. For example, how are you? Which book do you want? As these questions begin with the WH words like how and which, and they end with the question mark. These are the examples of WH questions. Next type of questions is tag questions. Tag questions always confirm the statement. They occur at the end of the statement. And tag questions contain auxiliary verb and pronoun. If there is a negative statement, tag question is always positive one. If the statement is positive one, it has negative question tag. So, negative statement has positive tag question and vice versa. For example, Sarita is ready. This is affirmative statement, affirmative sentence. So, the tag question C is negative one. Sarita is ready. Isn't she? Question mark. We cannot buy a car. Can we? We cannot buy a car is a negative statement. So the tag question is positive one. Can we? And so on. So these are the good examples of tag questions. The next type of sentence is imperative sentences. Imperative sentences always begin with a verb and they end with a full stop. Imperative sentences are used to give orders, advice, instructions, or to make requests. Sometimes imperative sentences begin with let and subject you is implied here. See, for example, let the child play. Here, you subject is implied one. Get out means you get out. Do not go out. Let the child play. These are the imperative sentences. So now we would turn to the conclusion. Sentences are formed of phrases and clauses. Sometimes sentences need do support. Sentences are classified in two ways: structural classification, simple, complex and compound sentences. And second group of classification is functional classification, which has again three subtypes: statements, interrogative sentences and imperative sentences. So this is what all information about the sentences. Thank you.